This video is going to show you how to make a super quick scarf. I'm using oversized yarn. I believe this is 5 weight, and an oversized hook, just so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put the yarn on the hook by making a peace sign, tail down, hold the yarn with your thumb and middle finger, wrap it around your peace sign, second wrap around, cross over to the back, insert hook, grab just that back yarn and sort of let go and keep the 2 tails and pull. So now I have it on the hook. My goal is just, I don't have a lot of yarn because I used a tiny bit of this skein. So I'm just going to do like 15 chain stitches to get started. And since I'm using an oversized hook, I want to make sure my chain is not tight. So I'm going to say 1. You can use any yarn or hook you want. 2, 3, 4. I'm going to pause it till the end. So I have 15 chain stitches now. And basically I would chain about 6 or 7 inches and then add 5 chain stitches, because those 5 chains at the end are going to be our first stitch. So I'm going to do the treble crochet stitch, which is the tallest, yarn over twice, insert hook in the 5th chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you see the row of V's. I'm going to insert my hook and the top yarn of the V, yarn over, pull through, and now you see I have 4 loops of yarn on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 at a time. 2, 2, and 2. So yarn over and pull through 3 times. This is my first stitch. I'm going to always mark my first stitch. I'm going to yarn over twice to continue on. And I'm just going to pick up the top of the V, pull through, then 2, 2, 2. And remember, when you're pulling your hook through, rotate the hook so the hook's facing your work. It just glides right through and it's a lot faster. So I'll show you one more time and then I'll pause till I get to the end. Yarn over twice, insert hook in just the top of the V, pull through, and then 2, 2, 2. Okay, I'm getting to my last stitch. Yarn over twice, insert in the top piece of the V, pull through, 2, 2, 2. Now, to start our second row, turn your work counterclockwise, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's called our height stitch. And it's going to be our first stitch of our next row. So always mark the first stitch. So I'm not going to mark the loop that has the hook in it. I'm going to mark the last completed chain stitch. Okay. So now I yarn over twice, and I'm not going to insert my hook in this stitch connected to my height. I'm going to insert my hook in the stitch, the first unencumbered stitch. And you see how it's a V? I'm just going to pick up the piece of the V close to me. I'm just going to pick up the front half of it. And I'm doing that because it'll make the scarf longer and a little stretchier, and it gives it a nice ribbed look. You'll have like a little line every other row. So I inserted my hook in half of the V, yarn over, pull through, and then same thing, 2, 2, 2. And like I said, if you use standard yarn and smaller hook, it won't be this large, but this is just to show you how to do it. Again, yarn over twice, insert in just the front half of the V. See that V? Just picking up the front of it. Yarn over, pull through, 2, 2, 2. Okay, I'm coming to the end of my row, and you see I don't have to worry about dropping that stitch because I marked it. And you don't need a special marker, you can just use a paper clip, that works fine. So I'm going to remove my marker, yarn over twice, insert just in the front of the V in that last stitch. And since I'm using a huge hook, it's an N hook and bulky yarn, I probably don't have to worry about dropping that last stitch. But trust me, if you don't mark it and you're using regular yarn, it will occur. So again, to start the next row, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last completed chain is going to be our first top stitch of the row, of the next row. So I'm going to mark it. And then yarn over twice, 1, 2, insert hook, not in the stitch attached to our height chains. I'm going to insert it right there. See our first unencumbered stitch? I pick up the front of it. Now yarn over, pull through, 2, 2, 2. I'll do one more and then I'll pause it to the end. So pick up the front of the V, yarn over, pull through, 2, 2, 2. There we go. I'm off to the races again. And you can already see that ribbed look coming through. My scarf is turning out pretty nice. As I do the last row, I'm going to reiterate 2 things. That you're not to work in the stitch that's connected to your height chain, because if you do, you'll accidentally increase, and you're not to drop that last stitch, or else you'll accidentally decrease. So if you look at my first row, I have 12 vertical sections. You can count them. When you're done, you still need to have 12 vertical, see how there's like a little pole, vertical pieces like bars in your stitch. Even though I mark it, I still count before I end my row. So let me just reiterate that. To start the new row, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The last 4th one, pull up a tad so it's easier. And now I'm going to mark that last completed chain. See how you have the front V and the back bar piece? I'm going to hold that back bar piece. Put a marker, just use a paper clip because these fancy ones crack all the time. I wouldn't buy them again. So I'm just going to mark both pieces of the V. Alright, so that's my first stitch. So on the way back home, I don't want to forget that. And now yarn over twice. And so that you don't accidentally increase. You're not going to work in this stitch here that's connected to your height chain. So I'm going to insert my hook in the front V piece of, it looks like the second stitch in essence. So the first unencumbered stitch from the prior row. And then you finish your stitch. So I'm going to pause so I can end it. I'm at the end of my row, and see if I didn't mark the top of the chain height stitch. If I didn't mark it, it could easily be forgotten and I would be decreasing at the end of each row. So I'm going to remove my marker. Over twice, there we go. Okay, so you may have to pull up a little bit. Insert hook, yarn over, and the normal stitch, 2, 2, and 2. To end, I'm just going to yarn over and pull through. Leave a few inches. Now if you want, so I'm just going to pull, I basically made a slip stitch, a slip knot. And I don't think there's any way that's coming out. Now we're going to add a completely optional fringe. I cut a bunch of pieces about 4.5 inches. The exact length doesn't matter. It wouldn't go shorter than 4 inches or it's too hard to manipulate. So I have 2 yarns, about 4.5 inches, and I'm going to just try to mate them up end to end, fold them over together, and now you have a center loop. See? Made like a upside down U. All I'm going to do is in between each vertical piece, at the bottom, like between this vertical and this vertical, I'm just going to put my loop in and shove all the end pieces up through the center. Now the sides, make sure when you pull it, you're pulling down. You don't want your tassel to end up on the side of your scarf. You want it at the bottom. Okay? And now pull tight each individual piece, all 4 pieces. And later, if you want, you can unravel, make them frizzy, whatever you want to do. So let me finish this. And don't worry about perfection, because any crazy pieces, you can just trim off. Okay, I'm to my last tassel. Again, just fold over both pieces. Shove the center loop through the 2 bars of your stitches. And for the ending tassels on both sides, make sure you're pulling down. Make sure it doesn't end up on the side. And then individually pull each one. And now, you don't have to worry about perfection, because if there's anything crazy, you can just you can line it up and sort of give it a haircut. Like I have some here that are a little too long. Just trim them off. You may want to do that anyway, just so it looks more finished. And here's my finished scarf. So I hope this was helpful. If so, please like the video. Thank you.